What I want to say also about the V13 real quick, I didn't have time to make a live on this topic, but they did release some new pictures with the V13, which is really cool. I do like the design. I don't really like the light, but then again, it's a 3D rendering. I remember when the Veteran Sherman came out first, I didn't really like the light. They released some more photos with the Inmotion, for the Inmotion, and I love the design. It looks exactly what I expected Inmotion to do. It does take some cues from the V12 and obviously from Begode wheels, because we know you've never seen an Inmotion with a square wheel since the V11. They've pretty much been circular designs for the most part. But I did see some matte pack pictures of the wheel in its patented form, where the suspension seems to be incorporated inside of the wheel. That is like the best implementation of any other EUC, even Kingsong, because the benefit of that is what? Clearly, that you won't have to worry about maintenance too much. And the longevity of that suspension system is going to be right on, it's going to be spot on, because it's incorporated into the shell. Now, that's just a matte pack render, or I should say 2D drawing I saw. I'm not sure if that's how it actually is. But upon closer look of some of the images I saw, there seems to be a mud guard in the back and the front, I think. But what I also like is the rail, the protective guardrail in the front, and the handles. There's two. I mean, it's amazing. So what it appears they did was they bypassed the whole idea of having to incorporate a beautiful design, right? It is beautiful, but if you look, there's the handlebar and the guardrail are separate from each other, which doesn't really make it look smooth in terms of implementation, but it's very practical. So they went for practicality over, you know, just convenience of beauty. So that's a plus, in my opinion. The wheel looks a little tall, which probably is not a bad thing because the V11 is already tall. I don't know what else. I mean, people mention that it has like a fingerprint feature and electronic pedal, whatever, adjust or whatever, like you can close the pedal electronically and stuff like that. Now, that all might be overkill, because I feel like the V11 the V12, I'm sorry, gave you a very good example of really what you should focus on, which is, you know, making sure that your motors don't die and your boards don't fail. Hopefully they focus on that, and you know, that part of Inmotion's history will be a thing of the past. But what I am also, someone mentioned on my channel that the wheel will not actually do 142. Well, obviously we know it's a free wheel spin, so it's not going to do, we'll just subtract whatever, and maybe people are assuming that it'll do like 60, 70 miles an hour. If you watch the video closer, you'll see that there's an alarm that went off well before 100 kilometers. Okay, I believe it's well before 100 kilometers an alarm goes off. Now, I'm not sure what alarm that is. That could be something they had set and maybe forgot to turn off. You know, like when you have your safety margin alarm, you have your first your priority alarms, etc. in EUC world. Maybe they have that incorporated into the wheel itself. I have no idea. But the point is, I did hear an alarm, and then toward the very end, we saw that it sustained that speed. Now, another interpretation I could take from that is the fact that the wheel is so powerful, in the sense that it has 142 free wheel spin, sustained, okay, under load, because that was definitely under load, because the battery went down, the percentage went down. When you do a free wheel spin, at least on my Begode, with no load, no battery goes down because there's no load. So at least not significant like how theirs went down. But what I interpret that to mean is this, that they demonstrated that the wheel can do 142 free wheel spin, but with one caveat: you will not be able to go 100 whatever. You will not be able to do 70 miles an hour possibly. What that demonstrates is that the wheel has so much buffer, so much headroom, that traveling at like 55, maybe even 60, let's say they do 60, traveling at 60 miles an hour on that wheel will not be an issue where cutouts are concerned, because they have so much buffer. And the fact that it sustained that speed under load at the maximum 142 kilometers per hour or 88 miles an hour could mean that this is the first wheel that will not cut out. And I always said in the past that if there was going to be a company that made wheels that did not cut out, it would be either Inmotion or Kingsong. And it seems like Inmotion took this to a completely different level. They took it to a completely different level. And I remember a long time ago when I made a video on cutoffs, if you look at it, the infamous cutouts, I spoke to Archie, who is Panda, and I asked him, I'm like, hey, Archie, do you think they could actually do something like this? And what he mentioned was, why don't they create a wheel that's a certain wattage, but don't promote the wattage, or at least don't implement that maximum wattage, but like dial it down and then give people that, but still have your higher margin hidden from people so that, you know, you can have that buffer. And look, that's exactly what they're doing. They are literally giving you a 10,000 peak watt motor, but dialing it back all the way down so that you'll have that leg room not to cut out. And really, if you think about it, most cutouts minus like board failure or motor failure or something, or rider error, is usually due to overpowering the wheel, overpowering the motor. That's usually what happens, okay? The majority of cutouts is due to overpowering the wheel. But what did they demonstrate? They demonstrated that this wheel, at its maximum spin with load, cannot be cut out. That says a lot, man. Now let's see. I would like that to be the interpretation, but we'll just have to find out. But it is exciting. It is exciting that Inmotion took their time, where also they focused on the gauge wires. You know, the wires are a lot thicker. Their battery, okay, the battery is sealed, cool. I'm not really impressed by that. What I would like to be impressed by is how their battery management system works, where in the case of the Kingsong, where over like, what is it called? Thermal runaway is concerned, okay? I've never seen an Inmotion on fire. I'm sure it happens. I've never seen it, but it'd be very interesting to see how that thing is finally implemented. They're slowly dripping information as this thing gets closer and closer towards, you know, not production, because I'm sure it's out there, but let's just say production, and the first time riders riding it. But in terms of price, I don't know where this thing is going to be. It looks, now Inmotion does not mess around with prices in terms of like, okay, they feel like a wheel has a certain quality, they will not back down based on market pressure. If you look at the V10, for example, the V10 came out with like a measly under 2,000, I think it was like a 1,500 watt hour battery, and that thing is like freaking, when it came out, it was insane. The amount of price, the amount of money that you had to pay for that wheel was equivalent to crazier wheels that Gotway and probably Kingsong offered with crazier batteries. So you know, we know that Inmotion is definitely going to produce a wheel that is high quality, but prepare for the price. And yeah, so another thing is, I would say, is that wheel definitely kills the Master, in my opinion. When I say kill it, I don't mean like, you know, you will no longer be interested in, or people won't be interested in the Master anymore. It's more like the Master, you know, they gave us very little for the amount of money they're charging us. It doesn't make sense to me. They gave us a motor with 4 batteries and freaking foam. That's it. You know what I mean? And by the time you buy your Clark pads and your Clark fairing, you know what I mean? And your seat, that thing is a $4,000 wheel. You know what I mean? So, and your pedals, it's a $4,000 wheel. and you're not even getting crazy range, crazy battery. It's novel in the sense that it's something new for Gotway, but overall you're not getting much, man. I mean, I'm looking at videos and pictures on Facebook and Instagram, and you already see that people are taking off, you know, the foam and the front lights, and they're replacing it with their own 3D design stuff, and it's not appealing at all. Like, it doesn't even look good, except for the fairing. The fairing looks freaking amazing. But other than that, guys, I have nothing bad to say about the Master. It's just whenever the price is increased for something that appears to be revolutionary, which it actually isn't, it's just like riding naked, dude. Like, how are you gonna give me a wheel with no shell and then jack up the price like crazy like that? Doesn't make sense to me. So the Inmotion went a different route. If you look, Kingsong actually did a better job than the Master in their implementation, because yes, it does have less body, but there's more protection for the battery, there's more protection for the wheel in general. So Kingsong, you know, definitely a plus there. But with the Master, it's just, look, the wheel is freaking amazing. I just don't like the overall implementation for the price. That's all. Drop it down to like 2,500. It's a great wheel. 3,000 plus, damn it. That's like laughing in my face, dude. That's like taking my money and running to the bank and just laughing at me. So it's not like I have the money anyway, so it doesn't matter. But the Inmotion is something definitely to look forward to, because they didn't go the route of Kingsong, they didn't go the route of Gotway. They went their own route and just implemented the things that worked, it seems, on paper, and the things that people want. So that's all I have to say for that. I don't want to make this video long, but guys, have an awesome night. This sucks that this thing overheats, but I have some ideas, so drop in the comments what ideas you guys have and what you've done to implement cooling, better cooling for this unit, and hopefully one of them work. Bye. Have a good night. Happy riding.